So 2 years ago, I started my print-on-demand Shopify store. I had the goal of making $500 a month. As you'll see later on in this video, it consistently generates far more than that now, and it's kind of changed my life. So I just wanted to share my journey with you guys and go through some of the numbers. I believe this is actually the best business someone can start if you're completely new to building a business. It's got very low startup costs. All you're going to have to do is get a Shopify account and a website domain. And you don't need much, you just need a computer. You can use Canva, Photoshop, or the free version, GIMP I think it's called, it's quite good. And you just need a basic video editing program. I've been wanting to document this journey for a while now. I'm hoping I'll be posting weekly on here, going through what's helped me scale the business as well as all the mistakes I made, and hopefully you guys can avoid. I'll be posting monthly recaps going over all my sales figures. I think this will be interesting for people to see, and hopefully I'll inspire someone out there. So yeah, let's get into some numbers. We'll start off in November 2023. So here we are. We had 4 total orders and we made $40 profit. It's important to remember I was spending no money on ad spend. That was one of my goals when I set out. I didn't want to pay for advertisements because that is just an absolute money pit. You don't know what your niche is, you don't know what's going to work. Just test the waters of posting. And I was only posting on TikTok at this point. Again, I was very happy. I'd made a sale. I wasn't even expecting that in the first month, to be honest. And December 2023, so orders were up, 20 orders, $250 of profit. I created an Instagram account at this point, so I was posting every day on Instagram, posting reels mainly, and also on the TikTok still. And I was experimenting with my niche at this point. I was trying to find out what my brand actually would be. It's fine to change, especially early on. No one knows you, so you can experiment with that stuff. So I was making sort of funny gym shirts at this point and made a few sales, and I thought, yeah, this is what I'm going to do now. This is what I'm going to stick to. So January, I had 175 orders, over $2,770 of profit, and this felt like a crazy month. This month I had an Instagram reel go viral. I was gaining a lot of followers on the Instagram account, and I was noticing that most of my sales, I'd say about 90% of them, were coming from Instagram, and so I made a decision at this point that Instagram was going to be my main focus. I was still going to post regularly on TikTok, but I was catering my content mainly to the crowd I was building on Instagram. And again, it's worth noting, still no money spent on ads. This was all from content I was posting and completely at the mercy of the Instagram algorithm. But it was treating me well at this point. I was very happy. I thought I'd figured it all out. And then February came. Obviously orders were down quite a lot, 36 orders, only $570 of profit. But you know, progress is very rarely linear, so I wasn't even disappointed. I was still averaging over 1 order per day. You know, I was still building a following. My follower count was going up every day. I was getting more engagement on my posts. Instead of the odd reel going viral and most of them getting 100, 200 views, now most of my videos were getting sort of 500 or 1,000 views. Now we're into March, so only 29 orders, so we're down again at this point. So a second consecutive month of negative growth, I suppose, but still hovering around the 1 order per day average, and you know, $500 profit. I wasn't going to complain. That was enough to put fuel in my car and pay for my groceries, so I was very happy with this. I knew I just needed one more viral video and I might make the money I'd made in January. April, up to 34 orders, over $500 profit, and I felt like this was my new baseline now. I was like, okay, $500 profit a month, that seems to be the steady one. If I don't have anything go viral, if I'm just posting as I am now, this is what we're going to get, and that felt good. So we're into May, over $600 of profit in May. That was great. 35 orders. It was just chugging away again, just growing stuff, not really having anything go viral. I think at this point I was completely over TikTok. I realized it's barely worth posting on there in my opinion. So we're going to skip over the next 6 months fairly quickly actually, because they weren't boring, but I was still at that baseline level around $500 a month, a little bit over in August, but yeah, I was still posting every day to Instagram. I was posting sort of 15-second reels, and I was sort of at this point I was thinking, how can I branch out? What else can I post? I didn't want to be tied down to the gym niche, so I was looking at making a wider range of content. I was making a lot more shirt designs, a lot of variation, uploading them to the website, just testing the waters really. And then December, and this month was crazy. So this was December, 279 orders and $5,400 of profit. This was a big month. This was a year of scaling the business, and it certainly felt like it had paid off at this point. And I'd branched out a bit. I was sort of making funny reels, commenting on political news, things like that. And the algorithm liked that. I was getting pushed to a lot of people. I had a video go to over 1 million views. And yeah, $5,000 of profit was mind blowing to me. Like, this was more than I'd made in my day job that month, so it was a very surreal feeling. So after a great December, I managed to outdo myself in January as well, so over $6,200 of profit, nearly 10 average orders a day. This was another crazy month, and you can see from the chart on the right hand side, you can almost tell, you can see where it's tapering off at the start. That's probably the views from my viral video in December, sort of tapering down. And then at the end of the month, another viral video, so that was just printing money. So February 2025, and a big drop here, only $3,480 of profit. And at the time I remember feeling kind of disappointed just because of the previous 2 months. But I knew every time I posted on Instagram there was a chance that something would catch and the sales would start pouring in again. And I also knew as I was growing my followers, the chances of the videos going viral were better. And at this point I had about 10,000 followers on Instagram, so it's not a huge account. That's what really surprised me. I thought this would be the sort of numbers I was doing when I had 100,000 followers, so it was a really nice surprise. So this was March. We were up a little bit this month, $3,880, and the disappointment was completely gone. I'd kind of reframed the situation, and the idea that my new baseline was above $3,000 was really motivating. And it had been a slow month, but the sales had picked up near the end. And the cool thing was I was noticing I'd had a few returning customers, so not only was my increased follower count bettering my chances of going viral, it was also providing the benefit of having repeat customers, so this was really cool. So big month in April, $7,200 of profit, and this was more money than I'd made at my 9 to 5. I'll be honest, at this point I really started thinking about the idea of renegotiating my hours at work, trying to get an extra hour or two a day. I'd also hired a coach for the gym at this point. I was making a lot more money, but I wasn't the healthiest I'd ever been. I was sat in front of the computer a lot more, I wasn't eating as well. I wanted to improve my physical health. I was only spending about 2 hours a day working on the business. This was like the designing of t-shirts, the making Instagram reels, and replying to customer emails and comments on my videos as well, a lot of that, trying to build engagement. And then May, even bigger month, nearly 8 grand of profit, and I'd kind of set my sights on 10 grand a month at this point. That was what my main goal was, and the coach made a huge difference. I can't emphasize enough how much better I felt. Life was so good. I managed to cut my working hours down from 40 to 32, and I felt like I had time to restart my social life at this point because it had taken a hit over the last few months. So in June, didn't take too long to hit the 10k goal, $11,000 of profit for June. Making 10 grand a month would have seemed so outrageous at the start that I probably wouldn't have even dared set it as a goal. This was the moment when I really thought I should start documenting the journey, but I also realized I needed a new goal, and so I decided the next goal wasn't going to be a financial one, as I'd seen Shopify did a 10,000 sales trophy, and I really wanted it. So back-to-back record-breaking months, over 12 grand of profit, and I was actually starting to feel a bit of pressure to post, because at this point I had over 40,000 followers on Instagram, and when the news was slow and I wasn't feeling very creative, I found myself just scouring the internet for content ideas, and as silly as it sounds, it actually was stressing me out. There was a lot of pressure that I was putting myself under to post every day. So I decided, you know what, it's probably not worth doing this. It's probably worth just posting when I have good content. My old videos were still sort of getting hundreds or thousands of views a day, things that I'd posted months ago. So that was trickling in the sales. So I decided it really wasn't necessary to post every day. So August, down to 9 grand of profit, and this is the last month I'll be sharing in today's video. But yeah, I'd actually spent the last few months really pushing myself in the gym. I was prepping for a photo shoot I was doing with my coach. So this month was all about rest and recovery. And to be honest, I was actually on holiday in Greece for half the month. So instead of creating content and chasing sales, I was eating my body weight in gyros and drinking a irresponsible amount of mythos. So yeah, all things considering, I was very happy with $9,000 profit. This month I've been back to it in full force, and yeah, so far the month's been great. I will reveal all the numbers in my next recap video that I'll post. And in the next video I'm also going to go over things that I've done in the past, so promotions. I've also hired someone on Fiverr to redesign my website. That made a big difference actually, my conversion rate went up, so I'll be going over that. I've also had a bad experience on Fiverr, so I can share that as well. Alright, that's going to be it for this video. If you found it interesting, consider subscribing. I'll be posting weekly. Any questions, leave them in the comments and I'll be sure to answer them in the next video. I intend to start a monthly series where I'll do financial recaps. The focus will be mainly on getting to the 10k Shopify award. I don't know how long it's going to take. I think I'm currently around 4,000 orders. Anyway, thanks for watching and hopefully I'll chat to you again next time.